Hey, good morning. My name is Brooke, and I'm starting the new year. Well, whatever. The Gregorian year, a little late, but it's like they say, better late than never. Ay, Dios mío, what the hell? I just gotta wash my hair. That's what I gotta do now. But it's like I don't know. I don't know. Just it gets very dry, and I have to. And sometimes it works, sometimes it don't work. Washing my hair. Sometimes it just kind of get worse. Sometimes it get better. Like the last time I washed my hair, uh, it took a while to get like you know to this point, like you know, and I'm nervous. I'm freaking nervous, and I don't even know why. Shit. Yeah, I'm starting a new, like, I don't know. Patti LaBelle, new attitude. So I got an offer from Jacobin, and I just got last night when I came. It was delivered the first issue, which is from the fall of 2020. Which is interesting because I guess I used to have shallow subscriptions, and they arrive like 2 months before the month. So I didn't know this is like a seasonal publication. I thought it was a monthly. So it was like $10 for a year. I thought it's like what? $10 for a year? And like I saw it one time. I think I forgot where I saw it. This publication, and remember I'm slowly, once in a while reading The Black Jacobins, which I totally recommend you that book. To understand the beginning of the beginning in this whole like hemisphere, which I don't believe that was the beginning. I don't believe that Haiti was the beginning of there. I really have this. The more I think about it, there was a lot of other ones that had been like, but mostly like I guess like spies or something. I don't know. I don't think that was like the beginning because um, I don't know, and everything seemed to happen so fast, and I mean, I guess that's what happened with genocide. Mass genocide, practically complete eradication. Sometimes, supposedly that's what they did in a lot of areas. So anyway, I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I'm just like, I don't even know why I'm nervous. I was excited when I thought it's like, well, let's read out loud. This seemed like more motivational, right? And I just this thing is just I thought I saw one issue, like I said, but this is like a book. It come out like a presentation, like a book. Look at it's a sign of the times. To me, I find this to be very interesting because there's no pictures of the writers. And I don't even believe, well, maybe, yeah, in the white, um, and I'm gonna use quotations, leftist uh, circles. I don't believe that whites can be leftist. Socialist, populist. I mean, basically every word that the people, I don't even like, just, I mean, I like left because it just quickly, you know it gets you. Okay, I can start telling you the peoples, and the people's this, the people that, and but left work is like communist. I I call myself, I can introduce myself a lot easier as a communist, because people that are ready have, there's a lot of, like we say in Mexico, there's a lot of water under that bridge. So there's been like, you know the whole, boogeyman, communism, and you know of course, Dr. John Henry Clark said it's like, he stole everything from Africa. Most of the people he studied, Charles Marx, or Karl Marx, Carlos, Carlos Marx, you know, they took all from, Africa. Some of them, they was even in Africa, but it is just like, I mean, it's no secret, the obsession that the Euroasiatics have with Africans, and it's like, I mean, they know, I mean, like, I don't know, it's so weird talking about this, like, but it's just like, wow. They know is the original men and women of this planet, like, Professor Cava said, the first story, they are the second story. They are, you know all, as far as they want to go, this everything end in the ice age, in the caves, you know so, yeah, there's, it's like, they're all white. They're white. And you notice, like, well, I haven't been, like, in a couple of years in any, like, dating apps. I haven't been, I'm no interest in that shit, as to, because I know, thanks to um, Professor Jason Black, and his Black channel and the business channel, and it really opened my eyes, as to say, like, it's just, uh, it was very refreshing, I mean, which I knew a lot of stuff that he, addressed, you know every week, and but it was like very refreshing that he confirmed that to me, like, why, you know why would, anybody would be like looking for a 50-year-old transsexual, 55, 56 in April. So, and it's not to say, like, your self-esteem, or whatever, yeah, of course there's some of that, Mexican. So it's like, we've been targeted, for a long time, like I said last night in a video. I said, like, Bill Clinton's, head of, I forgot, Brzezinski, he said that, he was the spokesperson. It's so weird to see the planes. It's just that's bad. He said that they are very, very, very Malcolm X. By any means necessary. We do not want a Japan at the border. But like we say in Mexico, God is not there to straighten hunchbacks, or to satisfy capricious desires. Rough translation. It's like, and that's a lot of my, I guess, difficulty too. Like with reading and stuff, it's like, I don't know. I'm making excuses not to read now, but I am definitely, I did turn off the phone for a little while. I got caught up listening to Brother Rich and his book list for 2021. And, it's just, I mean, it's like, I mean, I don't, it removed a lot from me, because I just suspect, I mean, most all the books probably that was written by Europeans, and with this Chiron retrograde in Mars thing that we went at the end of last year, and we finally, Chiron is direct, and hopefully Chiron is gonna go back to wherever it came from, because like, it really like forces. I mean, forced me. I believe. I mean, in retrospective, it's not because I'm thinking about it. I usually, the way I go about my day and whatever, and then it's like, oh, why was that? Like, that's different. And that's when I try to look at the planetary positions, astrological positions and stuff. And it might be, it might not be. Of course, I don't have proof. That's why I've been so emotionally. The mind is sometimes very dramatic. It suggested me the word shaken. Maybe it is shaken, but it's just like the past. It's like a lot of the past. So it just came all at once. It's like, wow, shit. About it's about 10 years or something since my purposely determination journey to mental and social and holistic detoxification of the mind. I call it like de-westernization of the mind. And every day I try to tell my people, we're in the West, but our ancestors never had a Western mentality. Never. The sun is so beautiful, but I don't see it. I hope this thing is on. Yeah, I can see it a little bit. So I'm gonna ignore it. I'm sorry. I know there's never comments or anything, so it's like I guess I'm gonna perpetuate that, right? There's never comments because I never looked. I never looked because there's no comments. People, whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just like wow, and it's emotional because I really don't know how to be proud of myself. I think it's something huge to look back and say like every day I wake up with the same intention, the same purpose, the same passion is right there, and I suppress it because I don't want to be labeled and to be the broken breaker and talk about the same thing, but it's like finding your purpose in life. It's like it's so weird that that I get like this, just thinking how beautiful it is. These past 10 years, it's like everything I do, it's about that. Rejecting what's not mine, rejecting what's not, one rape, 2 rapes don't destroy, thousands of years of and the language is so, like, we talk about genetic. Yeah, it's not, we cannot separate it. We cannot compartmentalize. That's a white invention. Or, that's Roman, like Red Pill will say. That is, attempting to compartmentalize anything. It's like everything is everything. You know, that is like my mantra, you know, along with, organic. Organic, Maybe I do have a little bit of obsession with organic. I have to do my part too. But sometimes it's not easy to find out, what is it that, I'm pushing it, and I want it to be true, or I want it, or is it really, am I really, waking up every day and find out really what's happening today. Have to be prepared enough to notice those changes, because sometimes it's not easy to notice the changes, energetic changes within an hour. So, a day later, it's like, wow, it's just, I'm, somewhat fascinated by, how energy just like, the abilities I had yesterday to remember to do whatever, not necessarily today, or they are changed, they switch. Ocelote, you know what I mean? Those abilities are not necessarily there. Or they, like I say, they have shifted, and, and if I want to continue the journey I started yesterday, then I have to work with whatever it is today. So anyway, so let me just read you. I am so. I don't know. I just see. It's still on, right? Because of the sun. Okay. Yeah, there's a red light there. I'm so bad at queuing things up. I don't even know what that is about. Every day, like, I want to, and I can never find anything that had queued up. But, okay, let me just, oh yeah, I think this is it. There was, this one seemed, this is the one, I think. Or unless they're all, because that seemed like, are they all the same writer? And this is my first impressions of this magazine, so why did I do that? Yeah, I don't think I want to do that after all. Sorry, I thought I had it, and then, that's my greatest defect and my greatest asset. I like, she don't speak to me after 2 seconds, and I'm like, eh. So I know I always suffer from shame. I always suffer from shame for not having discipline. It's not like, stick with it. It's like, yeah, but you prepare and everything. You prepare your presentation, everything. And then, like, the moment already went. So I have to fake it, and I got to go by the script that I created, that I, to speak on a video. Well, this one sounds interesting. Even if I just read a little bit, I'm not gonna get scared of how many pages there is. Where's my son? There's a cloud. In 2002, the Pentagon started a 250 million a war game known as Millennium Challenge. It was supposed to be a fixed fight until retired Marine Lieutenant General playing the role of a Middle Eastern country brought the US military to its knees. I'm not really crazy. Like I said, I don't believe whites can be leftists. Come on, there's no such thing. Like, um, the whole um, ancient um, story metaphor of a scorpion and the scorpion. I think it was the scorpion and the dog. I believe originally. I don't even know. I heard it. I've heard of people they changed like so many. Help me cross the river. Help me cross the river. No, because you bite me. Help me cross the river. Help me cross it. Oh, what is that? Oh, that was already there. Help me cross the river. Help me cross. No, no, you bite. I'm not trying to. No, I promise I don't. I promise I don't. So yeah, got to the other side. He agreed. Got to the other side, and he feel this thing go like, yeah. Oh, that's a cat. I'm a cat woman. I'm sorry. Whatever the dogs do. You know, and you promised. You promised. You said you wasn't going to bite me. I said, it's my nature. It's a cop out. I know it's a that's what a lot of us human beings do. It's karma. Is this? Is that? Blah blah blah. I don't believe in that. I am at that. I am at that. I am 100% with Professor Jason Black. I don't believe that. I mean, I believe it's a holistic genocide. Like I said every video, we are in the midst of a holistic genocide. So we have to have a holistic approach. And yes, it's like, I got very triggered, watching Brother Rich talk about art and art is this, art is that. I was like, I have a neighbor upstairs, that, you know, crack is whack. And, art this, art that. And, I had to tell her, fuck off with your shit, There's really needs. And it's like, you think, no, but, the art, she's a curator. She calls herself a curator of art. It's not even an artist. It's just like how to me, I get triggered. I'll say, I just get triggered. I know it's the shit. I know art is the shit. I know, all this metaphysical shit is the shit. Which I am, speak a lot to me. It vibrate to me. But it's like, listen, am I gonna just do art? I mean, or support just art, or be into art, as until the enemy, as much as a lot of times, our president in Mexico, he's not a fan of that word. He say, my adversaries. My adversary, well, I don't know the word. I'm gonna translate it right now. But that kind of thing. So let me just see how I'm doing today in my reading. Every day is an experiment. I don't know. Sometimes I'm a great reader and I go like, who read that? And sometimes I'm like, I go back to first grade. The war began in early 2007. Several months earlier, an earthquake has devastated Iran. From the ashes of that disaster, a rogue Iranian general broke from the Ayatollah and asserted iron-fisted control over part of the country. Most dramatically, he began changing ships a toll to guarantee safe passage through the Persian Gulf. Washington refused to abide such a direct threat to its interests. Billions of gallons of oil traveled through the Gulf each day, providing that providing the lifeblood of the global economy. The United States immediately dispatched an aircraft carrier battle group to Iran's shores and demanded the general surrender. In a matter of hours, tensions between the two countries were higher than they had been since the overthrow of the Shah in 1979. The Americans made the first move once the U.S. Navy arrived in the Gulf. How to relax. The ships destroyed microwave, the microwave and fiber optic communications communication relay that allowed the Iranian general to secretly speak to his subordinates. Now, the Navy assumed the general would be forced to communicate with easily monitored cell phones, confident that they could intercept these conversations and thus learn of any impending attack. The Americans issued an ultimatum demanding the general's immediate surrender. The general, however, wasn't having any of it. To evade eavesdroppers, he communicated with his forces via motorcycle messengers. To avoid the Navy advanced radar technology, he used small and speedy boats to monitor U.S. movements and to ensure no American knew he intended to assault their carrier battle group. A shockingly bold move, he issued his orders to attack no, encoded messages hidden in the calls to prayer that was broadcast from Iran minarets. Yeah, still on. I don't trust it no more. It's like this shit is like always like, actually, I was about to begin, like I was in the park just by recording, myself, you know, and then I said it's like, well, I can broadcast it because I'm at home and I have Wi-Fi. Minarets. It worked as the United States traversed the Strait of Hormuz. Iranian forces repeatedly unleashed a barrage of silkworm missiles that overwhelmed the Navy defensive capabilities, while the general missiles bombarded U.S. ships. Some of his boats launched kamikaze attacks, a tactic unthinkable for the Americans, but not for a massively outmatched opponent fighting off potential invasion. Yeah, it's like, don't get me started. Uh, the U.S. admirals were caught completely by surprise. They watched in shock as their forces were demolished. By the end of the attack, 16 of their naval bases, including an aircraft carrier, lay at the bottom of the Persian Gulf. Yeah, our tax dollars. I'm laughing because I'm gonna cry. It's our money. Shit. What are they doing with our money? It was the worst naval disaster in American history. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure. For the day, and half of the admirals were at a loss. They had no idea what to do. Finally, after much deliberation, they agreed on next steps. They would refloat the ships and inform the Iranian general that in fact, his attack had failed. Unfortunately for the world, this particular was the particular war wasn't real. It was a game, a very expensive one, being played from within an office building in Suffolk, Virginia. And and the rogue general wasn't Iranian. He was American, a retired Marine lieutenant general out to win an altogether different war, one he and others had been waging within the bureaucracy of the Pentagon ever since Vietnam. A Millennium Challenge, MC, conducted in 2002, was the largest and most expensive war game in American history. It involved 13,500 troops, incorporated 29 different organizations, and cost 250 million to stage. It was the jewel in the crown of the Defense Department transformation effort. Transformation is in quotations, I can tell you. In which the military attempted to immigrate, no, integrate, I'm sorry, advanced communication and information technology into its repertoire. It was a promise to finally cut through the fog of war, the quote unquote fog of war, on once and for all. The MC was supposed to prove that Secretary of Defense Ronald Rumsfeld's goal of making war into science rationalizable, predictable, controllable, could now be achieved. But the project to make war science started long before Rumsfeld. In the 1920s and the 30s, officers in the Army, in the Army Air Forces, claimed that technologies like metal planes, powerful engines, and accurate bomb sights enable the precision, quote unquote, precision strategic bombing and of an enemy's vital centers, the transportation networks, electric grids, material producing industries, and communication centers on which a nation retired to wage war, destroying an adversary vital centers. Airmen claim would end wars rapidly, cheaply, and with as little loss of life as possible. In World War II, the War Department embraced this scientific approach. War recruited hundreds of academic experts and charged them with making the war effort more effective. When the war ended, the military concluded that these eggheads had, in fact, been useful and decided to help fund the RAND Corporation, the first national security think tank in American history. Over the course of the 1950s, Randites became influential players in Washington, D.C. In fact, when John F. Kennedy won the presidential... Oh, am I supposed to move that? Oh, God, I gotta be moving. I'm a fire sign, I'm sorry. I have to be moving all the time. He commissioned a second lieutenant after Lyndon B. Johnson escalated the Vietnam War in 1965. The year I was born. It's like, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. That was like, um, Van Ripper was sent to Southeastern Asia to advise the Vietnamese Marine Corps. At the point, at that point, the only action I'd seen was down in Santo Domingo, when there was a revolt in the Dominican Republic, and I'd been shot at, but it was certainly combat, not combat in the way most people think about it. Combat, however, soon caught up with Van Ripper during his first tour in Vietnam. He was shot in the stomach and evacuated to the United States. I'm sure he evacuated his bowels, where he remained until 1968, when he returned to Southeast Asia as the commander of the Marine Rifle Company. It was in Vietnam that Von Ripper, that don't sound German at all, right? Learned to respect his enemies and to appreciate that they had their own will. Though, are you serious? Though the National Liberation Forces and what every human being knows, you know, remember, hue means black, human, and it's a prefix. It's like, it's not a prefix. It's like etymological. Does the National Liberation Forces were not at, as well equipped as the Marines. They fought with ferocious discipline, even as they suffered massive casualties. Great soldiers, both Viet Cong. It went the wrong way. I'm sorry. The winds of change. Both Viet Cong and North Vietnamese. Van Ripper informed me, very skilled, very professional, quote in quotes. And the front lines of the war, on the front lines of the war, Van Ripper discovered what battle for survival really meant. The only way I can describe combat, he told me, is to think of something, think of some, he told me, is think of some time in your life you've been truly afraid. Maybe it was a noise in the night. You thought somebody was in your house, and you got a feeling in the pit of your stomach, like a rock is there. This fear, Van Ripper found, doesn't go away. It's there, and it stays. And it was an anxiety, and that inevitably shrouded the mind. Anybody who tells you you are not frightened in combat probably is insane. You pray before combat. You are praying during combat, and you pray after combat. Mm-hmm. This is all propaganda. This is why I hate reading crackers. I've never seen a cracker pray in my life. Worse sheer horror underlined to Van Ripper that it was ultimately unrationalizable. And the reason I'm here is because I tried to live stream on the one YouTube channel I have with like 1,200 subscriptions, and I'm banned from live streaming. Yeah, the walls are closing in. Like, whatever, I'm just gonna start another channel. Fuck it, I'm not. That was the only, like I say, like, it stays in YouTube supposedly, you know. And I just came back to that channel after like 3 months. So I'm doing like a couple of weeks here, a couple of weeks there, on different channels. That's just crazy. They feel threatened. It had no views. It got no views. That channel. Once in a while, something. Oh yeah, they don't like because I've been putting videos from the MTA. I guess. I learned as a commander never to get on the radio and ask questions when I fight when I fight first starters. He told me the reality is that those on the scene are just trying to sort it out, and if you keep pos- pestering them for information or updates, all you are doing is hindering the efforts. War Van Rip War Van Ripper learned in Vietnam could not be planned, but that conclusion was out of step with the times. Both Kennedy and Johnson administrations were permanently no, were permitted with so-called whiz kids defense officials steeped in the rational choice approach that had become popular at Rand in the 1950s. According to whiz kids like Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara, war could be measured, planned, and predicted. Thus, Van Ripper recalled soldiers like him were taught that the measurement of success in Vietnam was quantifiable. A number of games in which body counts could body counts, number of patrols, weapons captured, prisoners captured, were indices. I would say indicators of accomplishment. I never seen that word, indices. That's like we say in my language. Exactly, indices. But I don't know how you pronounce it in this language. But in the rice paddies outside Saigon, Van Ripper understood that McNamara, sitting in Washington, didn't that no amount of rational analysis can tame war. The computer models showed we were winning, but on the ground, we knew damn well we weren't. Van Ripper returned to the United States in the autumn of 1969. He was he remembered bitter that all had been taught about war and warfare was not right. What we had learned in our professional education, what we had seen in our professional journals, just wasn't right. I just crazy. Like, they talk and talk and talk. This is like, you know, I mean, the people who gave us that term, friendly fire and resilience, and they reward resilience. The more pain you can tolerate, the better. Mm-mm. In a Oh my God, what is that word? Court? No, it's not court. Court. Co-author. Oh, co-author. 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 That's a difficult word. Co-author article from 1997. Van Ripper lambasted the peculiarly American faith in science ability to engineer simple solutions to complex problems. The problem of war he about would never have a technological solution. Instead, real war is an inherently uncertain enterprise in which change, friction, and limitations of the human mind under stress profoundly limit our abilities to predict outcomes. For this reason, the general insisted promises of high-tech, bloodless victory were lies to be unceremoniously dismissed. Van Ripper um, Van Ripper's view was deeply unpopular in the 1990s, uh, and the United States had just emerged victorious from the Cold War. And most defense officials weren't interested in listening to someone stressed and limits of their nation's power. History was over. History was over. Capitalism had won, and the United States was, in the words of Secretary of State Madeleine Albright, the indispensable nation whose military would foster global peace and prosperity. That was, I don't use this term often, but that was eight nipple bitch. That's feminism. That's who feminism revere. That's something that we need to like. All the fucking icons, Thatcher, every freaking prostitute that they're selling in high school to our little girls, like as epitome of womanhood, just like cuckoo. Oh my gosh. Military planning reflected the hubris or hubris, I don't know how you pronounce it, of the unipolar movement. After the striking success of the Gulf War, the U.S. armed forces initiated a process of defense transformation in the series of reports written during a second Clinton administration until made clear that they intended to use advanced information and communication technologies to make the military into a scientific, efficient, and effective joint force. I say farce. A force that integrated all the services into a coherent whole, that whole with a W. Just got to clarify because my English is not good. That anyone and that enjoyed anyone enjoyed full spectrum dominance, the ability to win any type of conflict anywhere in the world. When George W. Bush was appointed president, yeah, appointed. That's right, appointed, not elected. He and his Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld, hardly embraced transformation in the. Is that a Q? Why did they change the writing? Quadre, quadrennial defense review. Yeah, quadrennial. Yeah, never heard that word. Of September 2001. Rumsfeld endorsed the RMA and joined forces or farces and full spectrum dominance. Then in November, he established the Office of Force Transformation to ensure the effort proceeded as he wished. You know, unlimited funding, unlimited budget for the military. So the key to defense transformation, most officials agree, was information superiority, which, in quotes, which referred to the process of using new technologies. Ay, perdón, I'm sorry. No. Technologies to gather data about an enemy weak spots, so that the military could attack these vulnerabilities directly and thus repeatedly end wars. Rumsfeld wanted his military to know everything about an enemy, not only the size and capabilities of its armed forces, but also its economic, political culture, and psychological fragilities. This information he and his coterie or coterie claim could clear the fog of war and allow defense officials to become scientists able to predict precisely the effects of given military action. The latter idea was organized under the rubric of effect-based operations. Effect-based operations. Information superiority was intended to move the military beyond an annihilation or attrition model of war, which measured success in terms of damage done to an enemy forces, to scientific or precision. Model of war. Sorry, which measured success in terms of damage done to the enemy's ability and will to fight. As, like, this is crazy. I can't believe I'm reading this card. I mean, like, it is like, yeah, so far I hear, like, the whole article is like, the science of war, and it's not feasible, but let's talk about in a scientific way anyway, and compartmentalize it so we don't have to think about human beings. I'm sorry, I'm gonna skip pages. These crackers, they think they're too important. Like, they cannot even. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, what do I know, right? After this humiliation, the rest of the game was conducted on JFCOM. JFCOM's terms, Van Ripper was not allowed to win. When the blue team Marines, it's like you think like, oh gosh, this article got to turn into something, and it's just like it came all this scientific war shit. The Guardian, the New York Times, the Washington Post soon picked up the story, and a scandal erupted. To Van Ripper, the game's rigging reflected the culture of acqui, acquiescences. Acquiescence. Never heard this word either. Acquiescences. Acquiescence. Acquiescence. I don't know. Naivete and false hopes that characterize Rumfield's Defense Department. Yeah, this is like excuses. This is excuses. They're justifying like, they're just greedy. I know, like, come on, I'm tired of that shit. You know, the white devil is the white devil. I know they get really pissed. you know, the Honorable Malcolm X told us that they go bonkers when you call them by their name. The blue-eyed devil. Okay, so that was my first experience with Jacobin magazine, which it seemed like, how you gonna make excuse for Rumsfeld? I mean, like, his poor vision is like, there's no malice. There's never no malice. When you read what the rights write about the rights, the whites, what the whites write about themselves, it's like, there's no malice. There's no nothing. Wow, I thought it was more like gonna be like political science, not freaking straight up propaganda. I mean, I know it's like the scorpion, right? It's my nature. Oh my god, no, I mean, I want to cancel my subscription. They're always coming out with new terms and made up concepts, and you know how many times I read that freaking title in an article, in the paper, in the whatever. They knew this, they knew that. No, I wanted to read. There were some just comments from people. Yeah, this is a liberal propaganda. The immigrant shit. The What was the first article? Oh, failure is an option. That's the first article. Okay, maybe I'll pick it up later, but right now it's just, I mean, it's a beautiful cover, don't get me, it's a very enticing cover. You see the cover and you go like, but I don't even know, I can see, and it's all the light. It's already on all the light. Oh no, it wasn't in all the light, I'm sorry. I thought it was in all the light. So now I can see. It was like, no wonder. It was like, it was a leap of faith. I was like, I just see a blank screen, because of the sun. And like, so it is a beautiful cover. But, I've seen covers like this since I was little. So the first time I'm gonna open this one, I think I saw you my new books, and the first time I'm just gonna open it, it was very intimidating. It was very intimidating. I never felt anything for the Bible, because my father, he was trying to shove it up my ass, my eyes, just my nose, my mouth, everywhere. It's like, so I always saw like the Bible in the house and whatever. So it's like I never really, but I feel something about this book, that I want to promote. I want to sell it. I want to sell it, a little bit. So, I don't even know exactly what that means. That expression, whet your appetite. But here she goes. Dr. Jocelyn Ben Jokan, 1918 to 2015, was a master teacher with a forceful command of ancient, I'll say a fierce command of ancient and contemporary history. He used wit, humor, and common sense to accent history, or to accent history. They don't use accents here, so it's hard to know when. History and expose historical distortions. Dr. Ben taught on the faculty of colleges and universities in the United States and abroad. He was a senior lecturer, faculty and of lecturer of languages, Al Azhar University, Arab Republic of Egypt, and for many years served as an adjunct professor of history. She's trying to be cute. And Egyptology of at Cornell University's Africana Studies and Research Center. Dr. Ben is one of a kind. No single person has taught as many of us about the wonders on Africans' ancient civilization as he has. Fearless, audacious, and driven, Dr. Ben is a living monument of commitment to one's people and to the search for truth about us. Unlike many scholars, he has not merely asked us to accept his testimony about history. He has been relentless in putting the primary evidence for his conclusions before us. I'm personally indebted to Dr. Ben for his original research, interpretations, teachings, and leadership in the African community. Dr. Asa Hilliard III, Fuller E. Calloway Professor of Urban Education, Georgia State University. Dr. Ben's work is original, as it is courageous. I guess I mean original research, right? I'm not really know these things, so I'm trying to interpret some things. As it's courageous and truth-seeking, he has consistently carried forward the tremendous burden of the scholarly projection of Egypt's African genesis, and consequently Europe's significant indebtedness to Africa. Dr. James Turner, Africana Studies Research Center, Cornell University. Yeah, this book is only $40 from Black Classic Press. You can get it at blackclassicbooks.com. So I'm just gonna open it. Brand new, as you can see. There's no, the spine is never, you know, see, like sometimes they open a little bit. It's like, no. You know, in my days, it's like, you know, I mean, especially in school, you know, it's like, you know, the teachers would criticize you just the way you open a book. Like, yeah, I got like whatever. You know, it was a lot of fanaticals. You know, like a book is like sacred. Book is like a, I'm like, not every book. You know, like I told you, you know, like my father only allowed books that had the Neil Obstin from the Vatican. I forgot what he mean. Neil Obstin. Obstin. I don't even know. I just heard that he used to say that. I don't know what this is, to tell you the truth. Sorry. I don't know the first page, the second page. I know everybody knows, like, come on. The first page is this. It's called this. The second page is called that. Okay, here's the content. I recognize that. Okay, bibliography. Wow. Can you imagine working in Egypt? Like, I'm sure you probably needed bodyguards back then. It's like, wow, just if right now, well, maybe it was better back then, but right now, I think it's, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like, I really feel like, you know, I stopped calling the Honorable Malcolm X El Haj Malik El Shabazz. I'm like, you know, it's they disguise themselves very well. Like, you know, like most people in Latin America, they don't know, you know, Spanish are Arabs. You know, there's a video. Oh, in another channel. I haven't published it yet, but I should, like, you know, I caught it, and you know, I'm gonna get in trouble for this stealing. You know, so there's these videos on YouTube. They can talk to, you know, Spanish and Arabic, and it's not even like the words came from the, like, you know, similar whatever to our, exactly the same. Can you get down? Psst. Girl, get down. Well, I cannot get distracted because I'm very easily distracted. So, okay, the prelude. It's probably my first prelude that I ever read. I mean, I always skip the whole thing, so, you know, I'm sorry, because I like um, fall asleep sometimes. When the vast majority of mankind in the Western world refer to a slave is the African American or his African ancestor is meant. This image has been perpetuated by every branch of Western education and religion, both Christian, Roman Catholic, and Protestant, the and Jewish, all branches of Judaism, and presented in a manner that would suggest an origin dating back to a time of purity in ancient Europe amongst the Greeks and Romans, an origin that insinuate and the beginning of world civilization. Thus the term Greek philosophy and Western civilization. On the other hand, the Greeks are not the originators of Greek philosophy. You know, I mean, I've talked about, how I used to, you know, hang around with the gays, and to them they still call it, you know, and they giggle and say, "Oh, going Greek, going Greek." This is why I go like the Greek. I'm like, I still remember like those times. It's a going Greek, and then I was like, I'm not gonna tell you what that is if you don't know. Um, the originators of Greek philosophy, etc., as stated by Professor George G. M. James in his major work, Stolen Legacy, of which will be detailed very much more later in this volume. But added to this declaration should be the fact that the Greeks and the Romans did not create the color bar. That is so prevalent in every aspect of Western, in quotations, life today. And for the past 200 years, philosophers, the closest to this was Aristotle, one of the so-called Greek philosophers. Reference to the barbarians in his remarks just justifying slavery in Greece and the basis of the slaves. Inmate in or innate difference. Oh my God. I lost my. Oh yeah. In his remarks justifying slavery in Greece on the basis of the slaves' innate difference, in parentheses, it say race and ability to others, the Greeks. Yet Aristotle was referring to the barbarians, of whom a large amount were in fact the antecedents of European Americans. They called such names as Caucasian and Semite, also Hamite. The barbarians were of a special economic and social class, not of any particular colon or physical type, in parenthesis race. with respect to with respect to all that have been stated so far, one finds Philemon. What's going on with my throat? Philemon, another Greek of ancient fame. I'm sorry, saying in antiphon, frag 40, fragment 44 in. Oh my God, I don't know how to read this. Well, that's the pages. You get the page 355, 52, 353. Even though a man is a slave, he is made of the same flesh. For one was ever made a slave by nature, but chance had has enslaved a man's body. Okay. Even though a man is a slave, he is made of same flesh, of the same flesh. For no one was ever made a slave by nature, but chance had enslaved a man's body. Chance. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna read the preface today. Obviously, I don't even want to look how many pages. But I always think about like slavery in antiquity, slavery in antiquity. Um, but then I hear conflicting reports that there was no currency, there was no money. There were some coins minted, there were some, but so how is people getting paid? If they had a job, how often they get paid? you know, they got a check, they got money, or they got goods. Because in the Americas, we traded goods until this day. Call it cambalache. Cambalache, like, oh, you said you was looking for some sneakers, right? So, I have a pair, very good condition. You want them, and you know, you can give me some clothes instead, or whatever. It's always like, it was a. I find out that the mind was a lot more agile. When I first began waiting tables, I had to, obviously take an order and all this stuff. Now ask me if I can write, you know, and subtract and add and all this stuff. you know, um, Even like, you know, figuring like some taxes. I was able to do that. We had our block of checks, whatever. I don't even remember what it's called. It's like living in another world completely. It's like yeah, you had a block of where you will write what they wanted, such as such and such. One copy was going to the chef, the kitchen, and the other copy, I guess, was for you, or sometimes it was not even one copy; it was just one check, like at the fountain, the soda fountain in Macy's. We just had one check. Write down there, figure out the tax, and you know they will go the register on the way out and pay. And add the tip in there or leave it at the table. So it's just like basic stuff, but it was just a totally different time. A totally different time that you can remember a lot more. So is it really like slavery? Slavery? I mean, they're gonna say, "Oh, there was a lot of sweatshops." Yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like there's some adjustment that need to be done. Some translation. This work presentation, on the other hand, will not take the position of Philemon's above, in so far as slavery being but a chance. Yeah, I mean, that's like, you see, talking about what, that 2,000 years? I mean, no, like 3,000 years, and they still justifying. Like, I just read you. I attempted to read Jacobin magazine, and just, oh, by chance. The same way like today we talk about the homeless, I mean, like, I heard since I was little, you know there's the poor is always going to be poor. There's always going to be poor. You know, like Jesus talk about the poor. You know, like other poor is like there's always going to be poor. Like always normalizing it, justifying it, and you know, just I mean, who's gonna say by chance? Come on, not even like 4,000 years. Who's gonna believe that shit? By chance. It will show that slavery was in fact created as a result of a philosophic concept created by religious and secular bigots and races for the purpose of their own enrichment at the expense of the vast majority of the barbarians, you know, the in quotations, the quote unquote barbarians, is spoken of by Aristotle and other Greeks and Greeks and Romans of this era. The same being true for those who wrote what is today called the Holy Torah, Holy Bible, Holy Quran, and many other names relating to the God-given myths in them directed at the enslavement of the mind for the benefit of the few at the expense of many. This concept being the basis for the outgrowth of the color line and the color bar that found their origin in the dastardly slave trade from Africa to the so-called New World, quote-unquote New World, by the so-called quote-unquote Caucasian. And there's a map of the Great Lakes of the Nile Valley. And continue. That was the preface? What I just... No, that was the prelude. You see? I'm like... You know, reading books are freaking science to reading a book, which... ¿Qué pasó, mi amor? What was that? Yeah? You got issues with your throat too? I haven't heard you sing all day. I don't know. I hope with this freaking cold weather you're not getting a cold. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Oh, you're probably not gonna see it. You know, a homeless person pushing. Oh my God, they're looking this way. They can feel that. People feel an eyesight. This is what I'm telling you. You know, matter is a hoax. I don't know. That hill, you know, that hill, that street lead. I don't know, anyway. Focusburg, focus. This is a preface now. Preface. That was a prelude. This is a preface. The following extract taken from Sir Harry H. Johnson, The Nile Quest, a record of the exploration of the Nile and its basin, Frederick A. Stokes Company, New York, 1903, University Press, John Wilson and Son, Cambridge, USA, explains fully the reason why this series of writings have been directed against racial prejudice and religious bigotry, again affecting the African peoples and their descendants adversely. At the same in instance, presenting a geopolitical and socio anthropological background of the history of the African continent and people. Sir H. Johnson, Harry H. Johnson comments were written under the heading of a preparatory note, and he wrote, when the author of this book was composing his recent work on the Uganda Protectorate, he was led through the history of its discovery into the general consideration of the Nile exploration, since it was in the search for the Nile success that the territories now forming the Uganda Protectorate were laid bare to the gaze of the civilized world. But as anything like a detailed review of the exploration of the Nile basin by the Caucasian race would have he will have undoubtedly extended a book dealing more particularly with Uganda. He gladly took advantage of the suggestion made by Dr. Scott Kelty, editor of the series, that these studies should I'm so sorry. These studies should be applied to the present volume, which is one of the series of the history of great geographical discoveries. It is not for the author to say that this book of the Nile quest will prove interesting, but he has striven to make it as accurate as possible, and he hopes it may be particularly useful as faithful record of the name and achievements of those who solved the greatest geographical secret after the discovery of America, which remain for the Caucasians' consideration. H. H. Johnson, London, 1903. But in its works such as that, which you have just read, full to the point of refusal with their Caucasian civilized, quote unquote, Caucasian civilized world, quote unquote, exploration and quote unquote discovery myths, which cause the type of presentation in this volume. The Caucasian Semitic and Hamitic syndrome that skyrocketed into full bloom during the middle of the 19th century CE, in parentheses AD, also fashioned this presentation of geopolitical nature of African history and high culture of the heritage of the African American, in parentheses, quote unquote, black experience. Nevertheless, previous writings such as the following extract from the preface of E. W. Boville, The Golden The Golden Trade of the Moors, Oxford University Press, London, 1958. Suffice me to recall that I do not stand alone in the presentation of my stand. Oh my God, what's going on? The presentation of my stance and this area of African history and high culture. Yet, I seem to stand apart from most who take the position that some peculiar phenomena called academic discipline must be maintained at the expense of di- direct confrontation and criticism of certain heretofore quote unquote established authorities who have desecrated African history solely on the basis that they are fellow historians, a sort of quote unquote gentleman's agreement. Vauville wrote. There, there seemed to be a need for a book showing how the Sahara enriched the Carthaginian and bewildered the Roman. How in the latter times the great caravan routes linking the sophisticated cities of the north will with the great markets and modest seats of learning of the south not only influenced the course of events in Barbary, and even beyond, but sometimes determined it. How all down in the centuries, Berbers and Arabs, Jews and Christians never cease to draw on the wealth and industry of the Sudanese. In Bobille's, I mean, sorry, Bobille's understanding of African high culture and history was common among most European and Euro-American Caucasoid. No, is it Caucasoid? Caucasoid. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Historians and European style Christian missionaries books like like his and this would not have been necessary. But oh yeah, I should stop. I don't know where this come from, but it is those of them the type of Sir Henry H. Johnson that determined the field of African studies and black studies under the control of the same Caucasians, quote unquote Caucasians mentioned by him. This work completes the three volumes combination a student researcher and general reader series of the indigenous peoples of the northern half of the continent of Alkebulan, otherwise called Africans, from the Romans and Greeks, Africa, following him to the subgroupings they label Egyptians, Ethiopians, Carthaginians, Libyans, and Numidians. etc. This volume extends an extension of the documentary evidence presented in Black Men of the Nile and African Origins of Major Western Civilization, both published in 1970, which respect with respect with respect to the oneness of the indigenous peoples of the North, South, and East, West, and Central Kebulan. Its critical criticism and condemnation of the people and works that attempted to bis bis I never heard this word bismidic and bismidic, I guess, I don't know, and destroy the image of the African Americans as part of the true inheritors of Alkebulan's history and high culture, the black experience. Wow, I'm just gonna leave it at that because I'm falling asleep. But so this says, I probably should start from the beginning. I'm sorry, I should probably start from the beginning. Yeah, I forgot to get my post-its so I can make notes. What are the three books? It's like a trilogy, right? He was talking about the trilogy. Anyway, just like it's so. To me, I got a little bit surprised that you know it's you're talking about Uganda. They had elections 2 days ago. No, they had elections 4 days ago. I'm sorry. They had elections 4 days ago, and oh my God, 4 hours ago, one of the leading candidates of the elections, who actually won the election by many accounts, Mr. Bobby Wine. He is acting out. So, yeah, he just like 4 hours ago he said that they still under house arrest, him and his wife and other supporters. He said that this morning his wife tried to go out and get some food from the yard, and she got beat up again. It's a miracle he's alive. You know, they beat him to a pulp. To a pulp. I don't know how he's still alive. Many times. Actually, was that 3 days ago? He barely missed a bullet. The ruling president's been in power almost all his life. I'm talking about Mr. Bobby Wine's life. Since he was 5 years old, he was already president. And it's hard to figure out, like who is who. That's one of the best allies, Confucian. One of the best allies of the whites. And the West, silence. There's several countries, that, been wanting, like, hey, look at what they're doing to us, and we don't want to look. And as I've been saying, for the last 3 weeks, the Amsterdam News also stopped reporting on Africa. Like they used to have the first section of the books. They used to have the first section of the books. It was for African um, news, and I missed the election. I found out until the evening. I got home until the evening. I found out until the evening. I was like, wow, because I disconnected for like a week. I was like, you know, this is this damn too much bullshit and bullshit, and you know, it looked more like people are, you know, just watching a movie, watching a soap opera unfold. They don't really realize, you know, what's at stake, and you know how, you know, the Caucasoid is putting everything on the line. You know, they see with this social media, with the internet, they see you know, more and more people finding out who they are. You know, especially the demon rats, the Democrats. You know, they had everybody fooled. They have everybody fooled. You know, you know, I mean, it's like 15 years I've been saying, good cop, bad cop routine. That's what we see. You know, one got you play the joke, and then there's a good cop. You know, come on, take it easy. You know, she's just having a bad day, or he's just having a bad day. Blah blah blah. And you think, oh, you know, he's not too bad. I'm gonna stay with a good cop. Not realizing that, you know, behind closed doors, they are like, check a hand, check a hand. You know, I mean, I cannot see it that way. You know, it's just like for a few years I know their beef is staged, and like yes, like it's like kind of like pro wrestling, right? You know, I'm gonna stay down for a little while just to create excitement of the audience, and you know, same Roman Coliseum, the same mafia that never went away, the same feudal lords. Just look around. Just look around. This is their vision. This is their vision. And what they really like, they love that feudalism. Feudalism. Being kings for life. You know, being rulers for life of the land. You know, it's just like, and in exchange for what? Just protection. Protection. That's what the feudal lord currency was. Really. You don't want to, you know, okay, I'll lock you out. When the barbarians come in, the barbarians, it was them. It was them. You know, like, okay, so you come in next month, you know, and you're going to scare everybody out. And, you know, you're going to, sorry, my lord. Sorry, my lord. You know, I want protection. That's how sick they are. That's how sick they are. Like I say, I can't get that shit out of my mind. You know, like, you know, the enslaved getting beaten to a pulp, and the enslaved going out in the street. That was the best experience of his life or her life. I don't know. I don't know if it was both men and women, but probably it was like, yes, you know, this beating did me good. It was good for me. It taught me a lot. I changed a lot. You know, that's what my parents used to tell me. It's for your own good. Your own good. Beat me up. You see, the same narrative, it just from generation to generation. And my father used to say, I will never do it again, but you know, you gotta put an effort on your part. Well, you know, again, banned from YouTube. Like, I knew. I mean, they been I've been getting notes, and that's only with 1,000 subscribers. This is why I don't like subscribers. I don't like views. I don't like nothing. I just like, for me, let me talk.